Hey everyone, it is State of the Arts London. Thank you for tuning into the show. My name is Mick. I am your intrepid host. Don't have a lot of time, but this month I do have Jordan Buck on the show. We sit down for a great conversation about what it is to be a performing artist here in London. At the end of that interview, I do have a little bit of snippet of her work and her music at a show from Heads and Tails about a month ago. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it very much, and I hope you do too. So, let's go. Welcome back. This is our second attempt at this, Jordan.
Yes.
I appreciate that you have come back. The first time, two things happened. I didn't like the way the table was set up. It did make you kind of look like a Muppet. I'll show you the picture.
I'm kind of a Muppet anyway.
It was really kind of from here up, so I was like, somebody, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then some jazz turned something on at Head and Tails, and it just started buzzing about 3/4 of the way through, because I was going to be, okay, we'll just make it work, and we'll just apologize, and it'll be, so that just went poorly. So I'm glad that you came back. I'm very glad to see you back in my what's going to be the new set for the moving forward and stuff. So introduce yourself one more time for the camera and the people at home.
I'm Jordan Buck, and I'm a musician, and here to talk about, I don't know, whatever we end up talking about.
Yeah, just stuff, right?
Yeah.
I like to talk about, we had just talked about it a couple seconds ago. I struggle with my motivation as far as an art form is concerned. I struggle with sticking to one thing and finishing things and seeing them through and actually trying to get that 10,000 hour vaulted 10,000 hours of being an expert or something. I jump from thing to thing to thing. So when I ask for people to come onto the show, you have been kind of plowing through this for years now. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's what I want to talk about. How do you get up in the morning and go to your she shed and create music? And what gets you up to do that in the morning?
Well, usually it's not in the morning.
Fair.
The morning and the day is like for everything else, but at night, I think for the last however long I've had the she shed, which is almost 10 years, I go out at night, and even if it's just sitting there for a bit and see how I feel, I do something.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm constantly writing songs. Like that never stops. I'll even pull over, like if I'm driving, something comes to me, and I'll record it for a bit.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a little notepad, or is it a phone?
I'm so old school that I had one of those like little tape recorders in Toronto. So
Nice.
I would walk, and I started with that. Now it's obviously my phone, but yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you spend the time, not necessarily finger on instrument, but contemplating? Like, what would you call that?
Well, I find like my favorite part is to write. So I feel like when I go out to the shed, that's kind of what I start with. It's like, what am I working on, right? Okay. But let's say for right now, it's like there's all these shows coming up. It's been half writing some things, but then coming up with sets for different things. Mm. And I mean, for example, the Heads and Tails show, that was like a full set, all of the stuff that I wanted to do. And then there's other little ones where I did like something on, I think it was on Valentine's Day, where it was 4 songs. So, so it's been a lot of that. So half and half, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So doing and creating kind of while you're on the run.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the Heads and Tails show.
Yes.
Fantastic show. This is the first time I had ever actually seen you perform. So your music is eclectic. I don't know. We had talked about this in the last time we had sat down about trying to find like a. Not a label, because I hate that word, but like a name for what it is you do. Tell me again. Yeah, you said it best last time we talked about it.
Well, there was a write-up years ago. Somebody was describing my voice. They had stumbled upon the band was playing, and they said that I had buttery and brooding vocals, and I liked that. So I thought buttery and brooding optimism. So that's kind of what I've gone with. And recently somebody said, "Oh, it sounds like your music's really inspirational." I'm like, "Really?" But okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not focusing on bad things. I guess there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, art is all about the receiver, right? Like it's one thing to create it, and there's that process as the creator to make that art, but it's the viewer that puts their emotions in there. So it's interesting that was the takeaway from somebody, that they took it as uplifting. Does that make you feel weird, or is that good?
No, that was really good. And honestly, yeah. I wasn't expecting a lot of the responses that I got from that show. Mm-hmm. And it was people saying, things like, even the deep conversations, like I didn't realize it was going to spark these things. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's not it's not focusing on any bad stuff, but I've been through a lot of crap, as we all have. So it's almost like turning that into something that's not so terrible. It's been very cathartic. Like I kind of felt like I've had to do that to get through things. So.
Okay. Do you feel like that's helped your journey along these because you and I, we're not 12, we're not 20 anymore. We've got a couple years behind us. Has that reared its helpful head at all, or is that something that isn't even on your radar?
I think it's just something I've just always naturally done. Like I've done other art as well. We've talked about that. And not that those things have fallen away. I still come back to them. I still paint, but music has never left. I feel like that's the thing that I need. Like it feels like a need. Like my husband will even go like, go to the shed, do your bing bongs. Like he can tell when I just need to go and do my own thing. So.
Yeah. How long have you been with your husband now? Like is he
13 years.
13 years. So he knows.
He's very supportive of the weirdo in the shed.
Yeah. Was the shed? Did the shed come up? You had it already, or was it you incorporated that into your work?
We moved there about 10 years ago, and the second I saw it, because it's a really sweet shed. I just want to say that. Yeah. And I claimed it. I was like, that's mine. And he's basically got the whole basement, so I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you share with your garden tools at all, or
no? That's another shed.
Okay, you got a second shed.
Second shed. Yeah.
Jordan, 2 shed, Buck. Okay,
yeah.
That's good. That's an old Monty Python joke.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to say, touching base on that Heads and Tails show, I enjoyed every moment of that. What is it like? This is just on a tangent. What is it like to play for an audience that isn't necessarily there just to see you? They were not. When I looked at the footage that I caught, there's a lot of chatter going on in the background. So there's a difference between going to, say, the stadium to watch somebody, because you're there to watch them, and that is what you're doing, as opposed to performing in a bar where, some people are absolutely there to see you, but some people are just that's where they drink, and that's what happens. Does that distract you at all, or is that even something that you worry about?
No, and actually it's interesting because a lot of the comments that I got from that night was you had a lot of grace dealing with, there was some things going on in the front row.
Yes, there was.
We won't go into that.
Nope.
But there's always kind of one.
Yeah.
Like the last show I did, somebody was yelling, and it was something nice, but there's always going to be somebody that wants to distract you, and it made me realize how comfortable I am with myself. Like I don't care what you say. I'm not here for your approval, so that's okay.
Yes.
I think there was a point where I'm like, is this person going to be asked to leave? But whatever. Yeah. I think it worked out.
Yeah, I think again the proprietor of the bar had come along and swept them away and stuff. It was I just thought that was a very interesting moment because I was there to see you, and so were definitely some people there were to be entertained. And then I'm all about self-expression. I like self-expression, but there is a point where you're pulling focus, and that's not necessarily the way to go.
Yeah.
Anyways, anytime I've usually performed, it's in front of a captive audience. Like they bought a ticket to come see a show or something. So that to me is a strange. I think I would get mad.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think in my head when I see that, I get angry. Here's an example. We went to go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or the Rocky Horror Show. I think it was in Stratford, and it was a big to-do, and everybody was there. And you're familiar with the show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's that final Frankfurter song where he does there's a moment, and he takes a moment and he gets into it. And you're encouraged to do a lot of back and forth in this particular, but the timing on one of the audience members' heckles ruined the whole thing for me, and I was angry for the performer, regardless of whether it was okay or not, because you stole their thunder. So I guess I think that's, for me, that's where I get weird. I have never performed like you, so that's,
Well, and what I found interesting too, it's almost like how, because I do a lot of teaching by day, I prepare for something, but then I'm fully in the moment once I'm actually doing it. So for every show is like that. So what I didn't plan for was things like the interaction, like asking people, you heard me asking questions and engaging, and some people message me going, I really like that. I'm like, that wasn't planned. But I think that's what it's about. Like as any art, you need to be in the moment. You can't be thinking about planning exactly how it's supposed to be.
No, you can't, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you have actual people.
Yeah.
People are your random factor, right? So.
And that was fun, and I think I'm going to carry on doing that a little bit more. Yeah.
Well, that venue was fantastic. I can't say enough of heads and tails on.
She's asked me back. Yeah, I'm going to be back soon.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm excited. They had their own beer. It was great. Very very reminiscent of those little sliver venues in Toronto as well.
That's what
Right.
That's what it reminded me of, and
Yeah.
that's where I've played the most is Toronto. So yeah.
How long ago would you say you were active in the Toronto music scene?
Like 2008, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, I just booked a show there for June, so I'm starting to do more of that again.
Excellent.
So that'll be exciting. Yeah.
Good. So back in Toronto, do you feel like there's any kind of weird pressure there, or are you just duck off water off your back sort of thing?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I'm like just at this stage where I just want to do this, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no delusions of grandeur or any of that like I had when I was in my 20s. It's just doing it.
Come around.
Do you know what I mean? In your 20s, you're like, we're going to do this. And now I'm like, I'm just going to do a show. That sounds great.
Yeah. I don't get nervous on stage anymore. I used to, obviously, but now that as long as I've rehearsed enough and I'm good to go, I probably wouldn't be on the stage if I wasn't ready to go. So yeah, I don't feel those nerves anymore. My nerves are getting everything up to the point where I'm on the stage.
Me too. Me too. I was like, where am I going to park in Toronto?
Right.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
and
anyway.
how much is that gonna? And then it just set me back. Is that worth the gig money? Is that you have to figure? You used to play with a band. What's the difference for you? You were the lead singer of a band, but you had backing, obviously instrumentals and that sort of thing. Now you are it. Mm-hmm. What's that like? Is that better? More control, or is that?
I'd say it's better.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I've tried, even in the band that was really great, it was always this pressure to sound like everyone had to be happy, right? Mm-hmm. And so, for example, even when I left for a second to go get water, they'd all like be breaking out into playing Pearl Jam. And Marco, if you're watching this, my old bass player, he's actually now in a Pearl Jam tribute band, which is probably where he should be.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was like having a family.
Yeah.
But just a lot more to consider. Whereas now I'm like, this is how I want it to sound.
Yeah.
There's no one's going to challenge me. Like maybe my cat,
Yeah. Set in it enough.
Yeah.
So we talked the last time, again, we're trying to paraphrase and do our best to kind of relive that that interview. But the differences as you grew as an artist from those Toronto shows to now, we talked about challenges that you faced as a younger woman versus, again, now you're just, that's how I'm doing it, and if you don't like it, you don't have to book me either. What's the feeling now when you think back to younger Jordan? What advice, like what kind of heads up would you give her? Would you do anything different? Would you let all that happen?
Oh God, I would do so many, so many things different. I think it was a different time too. Like women, I felt like we just had to sort of smile and take a lot of it. But just being, like currently I just don't want to be looked at as any sort of like sex symbol kind of, I don't know, maybe that's an old term or something, but it was very much that way. Like it was just over-sexualizing young women, right? So I think I mentioned that in the last take was that there was A&R reps coming out to potentially sign our band. And I remember I was wearing a fairly short skirt and he was like, I suggest you wearing shorter skirts. So this was the sort of thing that happened all the time. Yeah. And I think I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I'm pretty fully covered when I do things. Like even for a while, my last project, you never saw anything to do with my face. I was like, I don't want it to be, it shouldn't matter what I look like. It should be about the music, right? So.
Yeah, well, how many Slipknot, Daft Punk, they do that, Guar, so that it is about the music and a little bit about the spectacle, but at the same time, just that you don't know who I am in public.
Yeah.
And
if anything, I want to be more scary. Like you noticed I had that giant
the
headpiece. Like I think men are fairly intimidated at this point, and that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You have to claim your space, right?
Yes.
Like that's all of it. So how does that play into you being you? This idea of authenticity and being authentic about who you are. How does that play, and how is that different from older back in the day? How do you accomplish that now versus how you tried to accomplish it when you were younger?
I think when I was younger, I was always trying to be normal, if that makes any sense. Like really trying to not let anybody know what was really going on. I mean, it always seeped out anyway. But now I fully embraced it. I can't be any other way. And so, yeah, I know I wear like weird wigs and I wear like, but that's all for stage. That's nothing to do with authenticity, right? So, but yeah, I feel like I'm really at a good place with that. There's no going back. Too bad. This is me. If you don't like it, I'll go somewhere else.
Yes. Again, you don't have to book me if you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want. Is there? Do you find it difficult, or is it pretty easy now for you?
It's really easy now. I almost feel like I wish I had just embraced it way back then. It might have been a different journey. Yeah. But again, different times, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess the we've tried to get better, and we seem to be backsliding in the last couple of years. So we'll see how that works. But we're doing okay. Knocking on wood, okay. I think we're still there, miles to go, but I think we're doing better. Is there a journey yet to be had, or are you there in that?
I feel like I'm definitely there. There's nothing more that I want from this. Like I mean, I did the film score last year. That has led into things. That was amazing. I just got actually today from Michael Marucci the song that we recorded for the Please Please Help project. I just got that. We're starting to record now. Like, I'm doing all of what I want to do. I've even been like on my scooter riding around being like, life's in perfect balance. Like, I really like what I'm doing in the day and with the music. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Do you feel artistically fulfilled, or are you chasing something still?
There's no chasing anything.
No.
Yeah. No, really. Like like I said, the lack of delusions of grandeur, like there's nowhere like, oh, I hope that, this CD does well, or like there's none of that anymore, which is kind of a nice, comfortable place to be, I think. Yeah.
I had said last time I had shared that I'm still a chaser of the likes. Like I'm still monitoring, and I'm like, oh, this happened and this happened. I don't know what to do with that information, granted, but that's that's it. You're good.
Yeah. I do tend to, Instagram is a very strange place. I do tend to post a lot, and then I always look at it as like what the spaghetti test. You like throw it against the wall and see what sticks. Because there's a lot of stuff I'm like, that's not really music. That's cool. And I like to put it out there, but then it's your page. You can do what we want with it. Yeah. But I think we're so concerned with like, what will people think? Like, who cares?
Yeah. As a photographer, I've really struggled with editing. Because I will look at other people's work and then edit like their work and never be happy with it because it's not my work. That's what he would try to do with my work. So I'm fascinated by your openness as far as, this is my work, and if you don't like it, there's the door. I know my work is fine, but it's getting other people to tell me that it's fine. That is the struggle for me, right?
I think for most people, I feel like we all want that maybe deep down, right? I don't know. I think I spent so much time caring about that, especially my past was like a lot of modeling and stuff. It was very like, you have to look a certain way, and now I'm like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So
you've been
to me.
Down that. Yeah, I suppose. Yes, personal, your own. But I guess, I suppose you've spent the time down those paths, and you can now navigate outside of those paths because you recognize what used to be versus what you want now.
I do really think there's something to be said. Just give a shout out to my husband. Like having that proper support. I feel like I've been in relationships before where it's like, oh, you're too masculine, Jordan, or like this kind of thing. And he really, I know it's like catchphrasey right now, but really holds space for me that way. Yeah. And it's awesome. Like I'm totally, I feel like allowed to fully be who I am and fully loved. So yeah. So anyway, I didn't mean to go off about that, but that's okay.
That's right. There
it is.
No, my partner has been the best thing that ever happened to me. So that's it has supported me fully in all of this ridiculousness, and so it has been good. Excellent. Now, moving forward.
Yes.
So we are mid-May right now. What's happening? You had mentioned getting some stuff back from recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was listening to that on the way here, actually. Love that. That's going to be on the Please Please Help Volume 2 compilation, which comes out November 1st. And there'll be like a night for that. So there'll be a performance.
Oh, nice.
And then I've booked a bunch of shows for June, July. Well, actually, yeah, 2 in June, nothing in July because I'm recording, and then some in August. And then I think I'm going to take a bit of time off.
Yeah, a creative break.
Yeah.
That's good. And you spend time in your garden, of course.
Yes, that's what this has been all about this last week. Right. Like, please, I'll see you soon, guys. Like, talking to my plants.
What's your plant of choice? Like, do you have a
there's so many, but this year I'm excited. My whole thing is, if you can't tell, I like black plants. So I'm growing black watermelons. So on the inside they are not black, but on the outside they are.
Interesting.
So that's probably the coolest thing this year that I'm growing.
Okay, all right. So like a vegetable garden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With lots of flowers for the pollinators.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Do you can? Do you do the
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're planning. We're getting some raised garden beds, so we're going to be doing some of that, and we just haven't decided what yet. That's the problem. Growing up, we did corn, we did potatoes, we did your standard kind of stuff. But I think the most exotic thing we ever did was zucchini. So it'll be interesting to see what we can grow in the back. We also have a rabbit we have to deal with, so that's.
Oh, there's always something. I've got fat groundhogs. They're always trying to eat my garden.
Yeah, that's it. So, any plugs? Anything ready to go? Like, we're going to show a little bit of the performance from the show, a couple of stills, that sort of thing, as we kind of wrap this up. Couple of shows coming up.
The next one in London is June 19th. It's from 6 to 8 at the Richmond.
Okay.
And it's with friends of mine, really good friends. They're actually neighbors who have become really good friends. And they're putting this, it's every third Thursday of the month now. And they interview an artist and then like a visual artist and then a musician. So they've decided to have me as both.
Nice.
So it should be cool. Yeah.
The art scene is hidden but huge.
Yes.
I have noticed just in the last month, there's at least 2 of these types of interview shows going on, right?
Is there?
Very similar.
There you go.
One of them is strictly musicians, and then there was another one that's just strictly visual artists, like painters and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's interesting when you start looking and opening your eyes how big the community is and how sheltered you can be sometimes when you discover that. Jordan, thank you so much for coming back onto the show. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Doesn't take long to fill up 25 minutes, that's for sure.
Is that really how?
Oh, yeah.
I talk a lot, though, so
yeah,
that's probably the least amount I've talked in a while.
Me too. That's why I do the show, so I have somewhere to get it out. Once again, thank you very much for coming on the show. This has been State of the Arts London. I'm Mick. This is Jordan.
Just in time to stop the song.